Timing was never a concern on this house. It was about getting it right. We did some massaging on the plan, but very little.
You get really emotionally involved in these homes, but every once in a while you got to take a deep breath and know it's just a home and let it happen. And do not cut any corners. Whatever you set out to do it all the way the last day, and if you do it, you'll end up with a spectacular project and a spectacular architect. My name is Scott Martenson, owner of Martenson Construction, and we're here to show you our house today, Claudia and Scott Martenson's house. This house started about 5 years ago on a piece of paper. Through interviewing a lot of architects, meeting a lot of architects, and interviewing a lot of architects, we ended up at Mark Sever's firm. 10 minutes after I got there, he's from South Dakota. My whole family's from South Dakota. He's an old farmer. My family's a farmer, and we hit it off there. We knew that he was going to be with our project all the way to the end. And him and his wife, Michelle, stayed at our house last night for the first time in our guest home, and we're very proud. And I hope he's as proud of what we put together through his drawings of this home.
Scott, honored to be doing this house.
Thank you, buddy.
And to be your first guest in the guest house, it was pretty awesome. Michelle and I think we fell asleep the second our head hit the pillow. And we've just been taking in these views. And it was really fun to capture the site, the views, and the lifestyle that you're going to be able to live here is an envy for everyone. You're going to love being here. I can already sense Scott, the type A mover and shaker. We got the same hobbies too. It's really cool. But I see a different side of Scott when he's here. He's relaxed. You know, you got a different gear when you're here. And I love it. I see something that he worked his tail off. You know, he was out here. He hung the tools on. He framed his house. He did everything. We had so many meetings with some of your old vendors that you're friends for 30 years, right? And these craftsmen that we brought in to do this house, it's a once in a lifetime kind of project. I don't mean in that in any way but positive. The guys that put their heart and soul into this house, it shows. And it was fun to talk to those guys. I mean, like Dennis doing the doors as an example.
We had a lot of mutual associates that worked for Mark on his homes and worked for me for many years too, so it worked out really well. Another thing we set out to do is do a resort feeling on this home, and I think we accomplished that. And that was because of Mark and his ideas, his creativity, and also putting his heart and soul into this home like it was his home. I could feel that he was totally invested in his home, and once he was totally invested, I knew that we were going to hit a home run, and I feel we have one right here. I really do. I've built in this trade since 1981, and this one does a lot for me.
Thank you. And as an architect, I always live vicariously through my clients' houses. And as an architect, if you're not sitting at the table or the computer thinking about how you yourself would live in that home, then you're doing an injustice to the client and to the project. Timing was never a concern on this house. It was about getting it right. We did some massaging on the plan, but very little. I mean, the initial concept survived the entire way through to the built environment. So for me, it was such a rewarding project because it's a tenacious effort to start a project like this. The material, just the means and methods of getting things here. So the techniques of building a home in this locale, it's not easy. To get technical for a second, batching concrete. You've got 90 minutes to get that concrete from the batch plant to here and delivered. And before they fixed the road down there, all the hikers were parking along the road, and you know, sometimes the trucks would get blocked in, the concrete guys would get blocked in. It was an effort, right, to get concrete in the ground. And so, I mean, the tenacious effort, literally. So to build in a remote location, what you have at the end, spectacular, but the process to get there is really an effort, and it's a labor of love. You can tell Scott and Claudia had a blast doing this.
I'm sure you learned through the process of building your dream home. What advice would you give somebody who's starting this journey?
Save a bunch of money. No,
Buy it already.
have some patience. When you do a project like this, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of things are back ordered. A lot of things are not available. So you get really emotionally involved in these homes, but every once in a while you got to take a deep breath and know it's just a home and let it happen. And it just takes a lot of time. And do not cut any corners. Whatever you set out to do it all the way the last day. And if you do it, you'll end up with a spectacular project and a spectacular architect. And I've always said you can never build nothing that says unless it's drawn correctly. I just keep going back to Mark and his talent and his creativity and just the way he draws a house that doesn't look like a standard house. And that's what we're very proud of this home. And hopefully you'll see it through the video and all the shots. And we just welcome you in our house.
Some of the things that you just talked about, I'm going to expand upon. And the way that we select our materials. Scott is a framing contractor, so he's comfortable with the wood materials, not only in the structural portions, but also the finish side of things. It helped tremendously that he speaks our common language of architecture and construction. And when we would have meetings with your subs that you were liking to use, the vendors, they spoke our language too. A question on almost everything that we picked was about availability, because you have to look at procurement. When you start a project, my biggest advice is to expand upon what Scott said about timing, making sure that you do everything, correctly, and don't rush the process, because you'll see those corners cut in the project. So for me, you have to see it through. The procurement is going to define your construction cycle, how long it's going to take. And also, once you start to procure materials, you may have to make an adjustment in what you selected because of the availability. I'm a guy that loves to local source wherever I can, but it's inevitable that things got to be on a boat to get here.
Yeah, a lot of it.
And so time your construction cycle to your longest procurement item. And what was your longest procurement item on this house? I mean, furniture is always a big thing, especially right after COVID.
A lot of stainless steel drains. They had to be designed and manufactured custom.
How about the gutters? You
Gutters are all custom made. So most everything in this house is custom made, from the furniture to the tile was special made to just a lot of the finished products are special made out here. And it just takes time. So have patience and know that the patience will pay off at the end. And I just keep saying, do not cut corners.
Lighting and the things that are touchy-feely. I mean, door hardware, cabinet hardware, but this is a large home, and how you make it small and manageable is truly lighting control is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And it is so nice to get into bed and just touch one button and all the lights are out. No more going through the house. And then the moods that you can set with a lighting control system. So don't look past those finish elements that will make your lifestyle so much better. Lighting, for me, it's a design element. And you have to design around it. Lighting, like as we're speaking, I'm sure the lighting has changed behind me as the sun is coming up. But I use light as a design element in all my work. Do a solar study immediately, know exactly where the sun's going to be, and design the spaces around there. It's part of the interviewing process.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be when the sun comes up? Where do you want to be when the sun's starting to set? And that dictates flow. It dictates hierarchical planning. For me, that was a big deal. We were on the same page from, of course, the garage was the biggest room in the house, and Scott and I have a
little passion.
We have a passion for cars, I would say. So I'm trying to be like Uncle Scott here and get a few more, but we love to talk cars, and this garage is perfect for some of them.
Maybe you guys can tell me more in depth about the obvious, which is the floor to ceiling windows, the glass that's everywhere, that just takes advantage of all these wonderful vistas.
Well, take a window and just assume that it's a portrait frame around a piece of art. And that's really what these windows and doors are doing. The doors are opening the home to the environment, and the fixed windows are framing these gorgeous views. You can't buy this art.
Yeah, and I've never built a glass house like this. That's why Mark helped me through the whole process on it. But what it does, it just opens the whole home to feel like you're in the patio, but you're actually in the great room. Right now we're on the patio, but it feels like we're in the great room right now.
You're right. We had that conversation last night at dinner about the windows being. When you're doing production homes, you have to frame the opening to the window that's selected. It was this house here is all about.
We built this home. They came out and measured the openings and built the glass for the openings, so it was a true custom build.
And you look at how these pockets work and building structure around them. It's no easy feat to create a pocket like that, and keeping the critters out of them are kind of a big deal. It's a really cool detail.
Thank you, Mark.
You bet.
I got a kind of fun idea.
Okay.
And I'd like to have that in video. I think you're going to say, so what was the main driving force of this project? And then we're going to get out, and the girls are going to hop in here, and then they're going to say that, I want some fun.
Tell me, what's the driving force behind this whole project?
Yes. We're the driving forces in this house.
That's right.
That's what, I mean, we motivated these men to get the job done, but in all seriousness, we wanted to build our dream home, and here it is, thanks to Scott having the courage and the forethought to actually get the property and get it done, and finding Mark to get it put together for us.
Yeah. I mean, Sever takes a lot of the credit, but I mean, I'm behind the scene. You know what I mean? Brains right here.
There you go. Yep, absolutely. I mean, we cook the meals. Well, I know I do.
Well,
I know
actually, no, I do.
he does, but
I do all the cooking.
yeah. But support. We need a support staff, and that's what we are for each other. As big support teams.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I
Talk
feel like
about
that worked out.
the things that nobody sees behind the scenes that you do. Like, how many hours did I put in at night, in the late nights? Are you coming to bed anytime soon?
Right, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that is actually one of my favorite things, is just to stand over your shoulder, and I do that quite often. I just stand over your shoulder and show me what you're doing, and show me the cool aspects, and you know, all of that. So
Yeah.
I do enjoy that part of it, is just seeing the behind the scenes, and the number of hours, like you said, the number of hours that late nights, early mornings, weekends,
I think for me, since Scott's a framing contractor, the thing that really surprised me, but not really surprised me, is every night he was looking over blueprints. He'd never done steel before, glass, like he was a wood guy. And just, I said, you know what, I feel like you're getting your degree in wood and in glass and steel right now, but every night he poured over the plans. He was making, taking notes. This is what I have to do tomorrow. He was a project manager for himself, just so that he could learn. So he learned a whole new thing. And I was pretty impressed with that. So definitely all the hours put in brain-wise, too, as far as the physicality, I think was amazing. So, and here we are.
And I think really the other thing, too, is coming up here for the first time and meeting you guys. And it was just a dirt lot. It was just dirt. And just to walk the lot with the guys, and just to, when we went to lunch later that day and started talking about the design, and it was just, it's really inspiring. And then to see,
definitely.
It's very emotional when you actually see the home completed.
I agree.
And staying here, living in it, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it had a moment earlier
Yeah.
where it is very, very emotional, because he puts so much time into it, and to see what the finished product is, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So I'll also ask you this question. What advice would you give to someone looking at this video that's thinking about building their dream home? What advice would you give them for this journey?
I would say you're going to have a clear vision. You think you are, and then later on you'll walk through when it's all done. You're like, I should have done that. You can say those things, but be happy with the process. It's a learning process for all of us, for the support staff, or for my husband or my dog. I mean, she grew up here too. But I'd say have some patience, just like both the gentlemen said. Let's have some patience, with picking things out, with making sure you have a clear plan, and know that there are going to be bumps in the road, because there's a lot of bumps, but the end product is amazing. And you'll get most of what you want. It's like life. You can get most of what you want. We can't have it all, but you can try. So yeah, it just the patience part, I think, is a big deal, and just having that tenacity to keep going and wake up every day and do your research and do all those types of things. And I think you'll be happy with the end product.